Have you ever had that feeling of wanting to play The Sims 4 but not feeling like playing The Sims 4? This is where I'm at right now with my Forever World save file. I want to play, but I just kind of don't feel like it. Honestly, I think I'm in a bit of a rut with the game, so I've put together a guide for myself to follow, but that I think you might find helpful for getting out of a rut or a bored patch with The Sims 4. My Sims 4 Forever World has generally needed a little bit of a shake-up or a reset, so now feels like the perfect time to do that. But before we dive in, my name is Yasmin and my mission here on my channel is to help serious simmers like you to find fun and fulfilling gameplay in your favorite life sim games. My question of the day is, are you in a rut right now as well alongside me with The Sims 4? Whether you are or not, if you also have any tips or strategies for how to get out of a rut with the game, I would love to hear about them down in the comments below. Now let's dive in. So other than having this feeling of wanting to play The Sims 4 but not feeling like playing the game, how else can you tell if you might be in a rut with The Sims 4? I think you can almost make a Venn diagram with factors that are causing you to feel bored or in a rut with the game, with one side being factors that are kind of internal to what's going on in the game and your personal gameplay itself, and then external factors on the other side with a little bit of course, murkiness in the middle. I'll pop some examples on the screen here to illustrate what I mean. Maybe just one or two aspects are impacting you, or maybe a handful. But I think that the good thing is that for the most part, once you've identified these problems, you can usually kind of cure them, I guess. It is always my mission here on the channel to help you guys feel more intentional with how you play your favorite life sim games. So I definitely recommend getting yourself out a little notepad or maybe some sort of note-taking app and drawing yourself this type of Venn diagram. Get yourself 2 circles and see if you can kind of fill in and identify what issues you might be having with the game at the moment that's making you feel this way. For a little bit of context on my personal experience of how I'm feeling with the game right now, the aspects which are contributing to my personal Sims 4 rut or kind of bored patch are, firstly, the general fact that I've been playing the game a lot over the past year since starting my Forever World and sharing it with you guys. I've basically shared every single step of my journey, either in live streams or long plays or edited videos for you guys. I'm in love with my save file and I know that you guys are as well. But also, a year is kind of a long time to stick with any game or hobby this consistently. So I had plans to take a little bit of a break with the upcoming release of Paralives, and I made a whole video about that process that you might find interesting or helpful, and I'll have it linked somewhere on the screen. With that said, because I've been so loving Paralives, I haven't touched The Sims 4 in weeks while I've been enjoying that game, and also Subnautica 2, and I recently got Pokemon Fire Red on Switch as well. However, now I definitely am getting this itch to want to get back into The Sims 4 now that my initial mega burst of excitement for Paralives has kind of subsided a little bit. Obviously not entirely gone away, but it's not the only game on my brain now. But I am also feeling this kind of weird resistance to getting back into my Sims 4 Forever World, and then some guilt around that feeling. So let's kind of unpack why that might be. I am honestly, as much as I thought I'd kind of rectified any issues in my attempt to plan for my break from playing Sims 4 for a couple of weeks, I think that I do still feel quite overwhelmed by my save file and its current state, to be honest. So I have quite a few active households on the go in my Sims 4 Forever World, with the motivations and active goals behind them feeling varied from really strong and compelling to honestly kind of weak. So if I were to boot up The Sims 4 and play the game, who would I play with? I honestly feel like my brain and my attention in the game is being pulled in slightly too many different ways. For example, we've got Cassandra Goth and her new partner Cora. They've been in my Forever World basically since the beginning, and I love the gameplay that I've done with them in the past, but in a way I sort of feel like their story is kind of coming to a natural conclusion. We also have Burt Pancakes and his restaurant that we worked so hard to get, and then we've low-key kind of abandoned because it just doesn't make that much money. Their house still needs furnishing. His second daughter also needs a bit more story built around her. We've got Don Lothario, who's just been having babies like a rabbit, I guess. But also whose gameplay we haven't really touched in terms of exploring the Jungle Adventures pack. We have the half-alien siblings and the fact that they've only done 1 semester in university and there's still loads more gameplay to do with them. We've got Olivia Goth, who's my rags to riches sim, who I've not played with in ages. There's slightly too much going on. It's difficult though because I love all of these characters, but we're gonna get around to some kind of solutions that I think I've put together to help quieten this overwhelm that I'm feeling with my game right now. Oh, I literally didn't even mention the fact that I have 2 legacy challenges on the go right now, none of which I've got very far in, so that's another thing that's slightly weighing on me, I guess you could even say. So, right, after we've now made our beautiful little Venn diagrams identifying precisely what internal and external and grey area in the middle reasons are causing us to feel in a rut with The Sims 4, what on earth are we going to do with this information? Well, admittedly, I think that sometimes you just need to let the external factors run their course. Playing The Sims 4 is meant to be fun and never feel like a chore. So if you're feeling like playing other games or just generally need a bit of time away from The Sims 4, give yourself that, allow that. Again, for me, having these other games that I want to play in general kind of, I think, natural need, I should say, to take a bit of time away from The Sims 4. It's been really nice to actually enjoy that and to, you know, divert my attention to other games, especially Paralives as well, to really breathe some more life into my appreciation for the life sim genre. So again then, once you've kind of let these external factors run their course, maybe taken some time away from the game, I would say then come back, reevaluate, and think if you might be experiencing some internal aspects I mentioned earlier, which we are going to mainly be working on fixing for the rest of today's video. So next then, how do we get out of a rut when we are playing The Sims 4? Of course, I can't help myself, and I've tried to put together a handy dandy little step-by-step guide that we can all follow together to try to cure the feelings that we are experiencing with the game right now. And in general, maybe refreshing your forever world like myself, or just generally whatever save file you're playing in and giving it a bit of a hard reset. So step 1, very importantly, and we've kind of already started this process, but we are going to review. We are going to check in with our active households and think, are they all actually active right now? Or can I just not bear the thought of kind of hitting the pause button and temporarily allowing myself to put down the households if, again, their story might have come to a bit of a natural conclusion, or you're just not feeling that inspired to play with them anymore. Also, review each of your household's goals. Do they still align with both the characters that you're playing with and what you fancy playing with? But also, if you're feeling bored with the game and your active households, and maybe you're on the other end of this spectrum and instead of having too many households, you just don't care about any of them, do some reflecting on why that is, how you played with these characters, what gameplay you were doing, and then journal on some new household ideas to kind of get those creative juices flowing again. Maybe go watch some Let's Plays, research some new challenges that you could add to your game, check in on what packs you own, all of that good stuff. Throughout this video, you guys know that I'm using my Sims 4 save file tracker SavePal to make notes and review my active households. This tracker right here is a huge reason why I've been able to stick to my same save file this past year. If you want a character creation template to help you design your next household with intention, SavePal has one of those. You can find it down below in the description, and it also comes neatly boxed up with a version tailored to Paralives if you're playing that game as well. Next then, I think this next step is especially important if you do feel a bit overwhelmed with the current state of your active save file. Now we are going to be streamlining. This really was quite a weirdly difficult process for me to do, and essentially if you're just feeling overwhelmed, this is where you're going to cut down your options so that then that decision fatigue isn't going to hit quite so hard the next time you open up your game. A huge part of the streamlining process is acknowledging the fact that, again, the stories that you've told with some characters might be naturally coming to an end, and kind of like honoring the time that you had with them and accepting that it's okay to move on from them. I think that one massive thing about playing a Forever World save file that I've really kind of, I guess, has given me a new perspective on The Sims 4 is the fact that that is okay to do. It is okay for characters to die. It is okay for, you know, to move on from things, even if I'm still trying to work on my ability to do that, to be honest. So I would say in this streamlining process, we are going to lock in on just a few households that we really care about playing and check in on, again, where they're at right now with their goals and kind of things that you want to achieve with them. So to break down what I've done in my own game, here are the households that I've currently hit the pause button on. First is, I hate to say it, but Cassandra Goth and her girlfriend Cora. I did a really quick house refresh to make it feel more like Cora had made her mark on the family home and almost make it feel like time had passed a little bit for these two and their relationship. I especially love Cassandra Goth. Some of the funniest moments that I have had in my Sims 4 Forever World this past year have come from playing with Cassandra, but I just feel in a way like we've completed everything that we want to do with her. That's not to say that we'll never be revisiting Cass, but I just think as well it's time to give the next generation their time to shine. We're going to be playing a lot more with Cass's daughter Nova in the future as well. Next is my New Horizons Legacy Challenge. We currently are kind of in the Gen 1, Gen 2 border zone where my founder Winter Holiday just actually adopted her first child. And I have been enjoying the New Horizons Legacy Challenge, but it feels like I'm trying to do way too much. And oh guys, to be completely honest with you guys, and this is why I love sharing my Forever World experiences with you as well, to, you know, show that I am not a perfect intentional simmer by any means. Despite my best efforts, I just don't know if I really connect with Winter that much as a character for now, at least. I've been enjoying the gameplay that we've been doing, but there is just that little disconnect between the gameplay and then liking the character, and I like to have both where I can. Next is Olivia Goth, and I feel like with Cassandra, we've kind of played out everything that I wanted to do with Olivia, which was, you know, enjoy playing some just classic living off the land, rags to riches gameplay. We gave her story quite a funny twist where we imagined that she was honestly a little bit unhinged and that she wanted to make and live in this underground bunker. And I do still think that her home needs a lot of work, but again, the kind of like challenge, she has so much money, I think, but the kind of like challenge from, you know, the rags to riches side of things is sort of worn off with Olivia a little bit. I love her, she's an icon, but we're hitting the pause button for now. And lastly, okay, so you guys might remember when I started Gen 2 of my Very Veggie Challenge, we temporarily removed my Gen 2 heir, Amethysta, and we put her in her own separate apartment for a little while to really just see who she was as a character. And I decided to actually go ahead and do the same thing with my Gen 3 heir, Amber. And she's still a teen, but there's some lore, there's some context behind it, and it really does make sense with the kind of like tenuous relationship that she has with her own mother. So yes, I've taken her out of the home with context, it was Amber, her horse Arcada, her younger sister as well, who's still like a toddler, I think, or no, child now, I think actually. And then her mum, Amethysta, who's like, you know, a big superstar, and her ghost grandmother, Jade. And honestly, the household in the big McMansion that they live in was just feeling a tad too overwhelming for me to play in. So I've hit pause on the rest of the Very Veggie household. And for now, we've just sucked out Amber and her horse Arcada to start Gen 3, which I am so excited for. The next step though in our rut extraction process, I don't really know what we're calling this, is to get some embellishing done in your game. So this is where you're going to take the small handful of active households, or maybe even a brand new household that you're creating. Again, if you feel like you aren't really connecting with anybody in your save file, and you're just gonna zhuzh them up a little bit is the best way that I can say it. You could do this in a number of ways, like adding some additional characters to your Forever World that maybe link and are kind of within the peripheral bubble of your active households, like family members, friends, maybe even enemies or potential enemies to lovers types of characters. You could add new lots to your world that relate to the current goals that you're trying to achieve with your characters so that you actually feel motivated to visit them, because let's be real, loading screens be loading loading screens, and sometimes we just can't be bothered to go off our home lot, let's be real. For example, I don't think that I'm going to be playing with Don too much in the near future, but I still don't think that his story is quite over, which is why I've kept him in the kind of like active household rotation for now. But one thing that I have done to really boost up the drama factor next time we do play with him is that I've moved 2 households to the apartment block in his neighborhood, both of which have his babies. So that's going to be just a lot more drama to experience soon. And lastly, I think this next section is kind of like embellish plus plus plus. This is where if you really, really want to get deep in the resetting part of your save file, forever world, whatever you're playing in, next we're going to do some big shaking up of our active households. If you're just feeling like the gameplay for the families that you do like to play are just feeling a little bit stale and like you really want to revive some new goals for them, you're going to take your active households and you are going to plan what new crazy things you're going to do with them in the future. You don't have to enact all these plans now, obviously. These are just an outline to give you kind of like some potential story steps to work towards, while kind of still giving you that room for spontaneity as you then will get back into playing. So again, what I've done with my households is, I mentioned it earlier, but I've separated out my Gen 3 and her pony Arcada for my very veggie challenge. I've moved them over to Chestnut Ridge, and what I've done story-wise is I think that Amber really has just kind of like run away a little bit. I think that her ghost grandmother Jade has really seen just how like, you know, terrible the relationship is that Amber has with her mother Amethysta, and Jade really does just have a little bit of a soft spot. You know, Jade is a much more kind of kind and caring soul than her daughter, to be honest. So I think that Jade has kind of like helped her granddaughter out a little bit. She's given her a little bit of cash that she's managed to make from selling her paintings, which she's made in the real world despite her being a ghost. Interesting. Anyway, and she's given her a little bit of change and just said, girl, just go. Just go. Your mum probably won't even notice that you've left the house. Just go. Run off to Chestnut Ridge and start a new life there. And so the only thing that she could afford was this dinky little rundown cabin that literally has no furniture in, apart from the camping cot that she, you know, found in the attic of her family home, and the cabinets that are just already built into the, like, you know, the house, the cabin thing. And also a little stable outside for Arcada, a little pen for Arcada. And actually, if you want to see the first couple of hours of Amber's new story, then you can go check it out right now, because at the same time as I've posted this video, I've also dropped a long play where we are diving into her story today. As part of the embellishing phase, and I wanted to wait to mention it now that we have the context, I've actually added a couple of new lots to Chestnut Ridge. I've changed out the kind of like bar lounge place for a cafe, and then one of the homes in the main town square area for a little restaurant as well, which I thought was cute. And then last, with one of my other main active households, but Pancakes, I've gone ahead and guys, I've sold the restaurant. For those of you that don't know, we had a restaurant that was in Foundry Cove, and it was essentially this rundown little converted container, and we wanted it to be like a kind of family run, greasy spoon, diner pancake house thing. Because there is the neighborhood action plan active in that neighborhood where people are fighting all the time, it meant that customers would literally get up all the time, constantly, and start fighting. And while that was funny the first 1 or 2 or 5 times, 10, 20 times in, it gets really, really stale. And honestly, the restaurant just doesn't make much money. So I've went ahead and sold it. Don't worry though, because I do have plans to eventually make but a brand new restaurant in the future. But again, these are plans. These are paving stones that we are setting down for us to follow in the future. We don't have to do it all now just to get out of our rut, because honestly, that sounds like too much work and would probably make us retreat even more from the game. Let's be real. And the last step then in this rut removal process, whatever we're calling it, is to get into game and play. Hopefully by now you're feeling a little bit lighter around the game, and if you fancy playing now, that's fantastic. That's great. Dive in, go for it. But if you still don't, then don't be too hard on yourself, because if anything, you've got your save file set up perfectly for the next time that you do have that itch to dive into game and play. And for me guys, this was exactly what I needed to do. It feels a bit weird to say, but again, allowing myself to actively hit pause and kind of set aside some of our households has been strangely quite freeing. And again, it just kind of symbolizes almost like a season 2 or a new chapter for my Forever World. The best bit about playing in a Forever World as well is that we will see these Sims that we've, created stories for around town, and they aren't gone forever. We know their stories, and they're just gonna add so much color and background details to the, households that we're gonna continue playing and new ones that will undoubtedly add in the future. But with that said, my loves, I hope that you found this video helpful. Once again, my question of the day is, are you currently in a rut with the game? And if you are, let us know any strategies or tips that you have for working yourself out of this mindset as well. Don't forget to check out SavePal if you want to join my royal court of serious simmers and get extra intentional about your gameplay. Before we head out, I want to thank my amazing channel members for supporting my work here. So starting off with my gorgeous Tiberium level members, we have Amy M, Bloodied Porcelain, Vanagander, Jen, Lilac Bunny, Nancy, and Catastrophe. And you are going to be able to see all of our amazing Soul Piece members on the screen just here as well. If you're not quite done listening to me gab, then YouTube has picked out the video on the screen just for you. But other than that, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.